Two, one. What's up, guys? Welcome to GuardianCast episode 19. We have guest asteriskchaos with us.
Hi guys.
You want to tell us about yourself? What do you play? What do you stream, etc.?
So I did some time in Destiny 2. I'm a little bit more variety now as of late. I've been doing a lot of VR. I have my Vive on the couch over there, along with the two controllers, and that base station is one of the ones. The other one is up there in that corner. But yeah.
Nice. How long have you been streaming for?
How long have I been streaming?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's something I actually haven't been keeping track of. Less than a year. I
Gotcha.
think I started like semi-seriously doing it about six months ago.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Cool. And have you done a VR stream yet or no?
I have. I've
Okay.
been doing them through the week, actually. Yesterday actually gave me a lot of trouble, so I've hopefully fixed most of those issues now. So
Have you did you get the whole like chat working through the VR screen or no?
I actually had it attached to my left controller, but something happened in Super Hot that sort of stopped me from being able to properly use my left hand. So I'm going to figure out another solution to that.
That
I'm
sounds
thinking maybe
dangerous.
putting it in the ground, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Something
it sounds like you're
Having a stroke.
something bad.
Yeah. Um we've got the TWAB open here, but before we get to all this super exciting stuff, let's talk about this week and the faction rallies. What do you guys think?
Personally, I actually haven't logged into Destiny 2 at all this week. We'll get into why later.
Okay. Okay. Exo?
Um, yeah, I've been having a good time with it. We talked about it, last week and the week before about how the meaningful choice makes an impact on what it is. The only thing that and I've been seeing a couple of people who've been mentioning it, is that they wish that you could unlock all of your characters things by doing all of, like, if you're on one of your characters you could unlock them for all your characters. And the big problem that I have is the only issue with it that I have really is that they're only going to have 3 faction rallies
And it's a long grind.
for 3 faction rallies only in season 3 of all season 3. That means you only have one chance to
Get each catalyst.
get each one.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with it. I wish that they would have more. I wish that it would be, and I think I talked about this last week too, but that, like, it's dawning on me that I'm not only going to spend this week grinding out the future war cult, but the next one would probably be New Monarchy, and then Dead Orbit.
Wow, you're gonna get that graviton last, huh?
Yeah, because I think because the shaders, and I mean the shaders are so good for New Monarchy, and the ornaments are really good too.
You don't have like a million of those though from like the last faction rally seasons and stuff.
I think I have the full set for my Hunter and my Warlock, but not my Titan.
Like I've got like hundreds and hundreds of New Monarchy shaders already, so
Yeah, there was a point where I did have a few hundred new monarchy shaders, but
yeah.
The
I
new
don't know
feature
where they've
ornaments are
gone.
really good.
I don't know where they've gone.
So I think
They're all.
what I've decided is like to that point, I'm probably I'm gonna grind this week. I'll grind the next faction rally. Like I'm pledged to Dead Orbit now. I'll grind the next one for Future War Cult. But I think I'll just skip out on grinding for the New Monarchy because I don't care about Sweet Business at all. I'm never gonna use that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's only 3 faction rallies, so it's like, if you could do it through more than one, you wouldn't feel pressured to. Let's say you're not logging into Destiny at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're missing out on 2 of the best catalysts in the game right now.
Yeah.
Not 3, but two of the best catalysts in the game right now, and you'll be putting yourself at a disadvantage for those guns if you even use those guns at all. Like Future War Cult has Sunshot, which is incredible, and it becomes the best hand cannon in the game. And then Graviton Lance is already a great weapon, and it just boosts it even further.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it plays out. I'm pretty close. I'm up to like rank 43 at Dead Orbit now. How far did you make it?
53 right now, and I
Okay.
have like tokens.
So you're working on the catalyst then.
Yeah, working on the catalyst, and yep.
Okay, cool. Um, Another side note of things that happened this week, I got the Redrix Claymore last night, and
Awesome.
it sucks. It's not good at all. I hate it. I really hate it. Honestly, like after playing with it like for 2 games, basically what I found was it is so slow. The archetype just cannot compete with Vigilance Wing and Graviton Lance. So like it's impossible to win a gunfight. The only chance you stand is if you manage to team fire and pick somebody off with a headshot at the last second, and then you proc Desperado. I had after I proc Desperado, I did get one like quad kill, but it's like so situational to get into that. Like I had already tanked like 2 whole games before that happened because of how bad it is. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't really like it. I wish that they would at least move it up to like a Jorum's Claw archetype instead of being like that disrespectful stare, super slow one. I can't stand it. It really just feels like such a bad gun at the base version.
I think with like the Desperado though, like the whole point of it to fire faster should have been like if it was a 450 or a 540 would just be insane.
Yeah. Well, no, it does. It goes up to 540. It goes up to the fire rate of Darkest Before in the Desperado.
Right, but the Redrix is like, so it's a 390, right? And it goes up to a...
No, I wish it was a 390. It's a 340. It's the slow one. Like disrespectful stare. Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. And I mean, the other thing about it is it's not full auto, so when it switches fire rate, it's a little bit disorienting to know how fast to spam the trigger since your finger's not used to the cadence. Like, the first couple times I procced it, I was just holding down the trigger, assuming like, oh, it's gonna automatically fire now, because that felt intuitive to me, but it doesn't. So you have to like intuitively know how fast to pull the trigger after it. After Desperado procs.
Not only isn't the perk only on reload as well?
It's
So
only when Outlaw is active, after you reload with Outlaw.
So you have to have Outlaw, so that means obviously you have to have a precision headshot.
Right.
Then you reload.
Right.
Then you can start killing again.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's so situational, it just doesn't feel good. I mean, I bet you it's good in PvE, because the damage output it can do is probably really good. But yeah, I couldn't get it to feel smooth in PvP at all. So that's my experience with it.
You happy about the grind it took to go get it?
I don't know. People have been asking me. They're like, "You gonna go for the ornament for it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that ornament will look great in my vault." You know, like
basically where it's at.
Right. So yeah, but as in terms of the Vidoc this week, what'd you guys think? You both watched the Vidoc, right?
Yeah, but I watched
I watched a little bit of it. What little bit I could, because I was kind of busy this week. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of information in there that is like, it's typical Bungie to pack in so much information. Like if you're watching for like 3 seconds, you can see like 4 or 5 things in there that's going to be in year 2 that they have a whole list of too long didn't watch that's on the Bungie net, and I'm sure that we'll go over that.
Yeah.
But with the year 2 reveal video and the Vidoc, I guess they're 2 different videos.
Well, they broke them up into 2, but they showed both of these like in tandem with each other during the reveal. You know.
Yeah, the Vidoc though, it's a different, like they're both 9-minute videos, so it's like 18 minutes total.
Oh, the full reveal was like 40 minutes or something like that when they did it live.
Oh, right, because it's just the YouTube presentation of the live stream.
Yeah. I think like when I initially watched it, I was just like so engulfed in hype. Like my jaw was on the floor the whole time when they came out and you saw the new enemies and stuff like that. I was like, oh my god, it's not, for once like we're getting new stuff, like new subclass trees, new enemies, and like all
The
of the
Scourge.
community stuff that we've been asking for. It just was relieving, kind of, to see that they weren't just like, "Hey guys, we bumped the light level up," like.
Yeah, there's a lot of huge changes that are moving it in the direction
An MMO,
uh,
right?
of an MMO more and more than it is to be the way that it is now and the way that we're moving forward. Just with the Dreaming City being its own end game destination that will house both the raid and the raid layer. I was talking about it the other night in chat. We were discussing doing the raid, and like now we go to orbit, we go to the raid, we go to back to the tower, maybe we go to another raid layer, and it's all separate. It feels very separate. But with the Dreaming City, you'll be able to do the raid. You should be able to do the raid, and then count the subsequent raid layers all within the same activity area, which is awesome. Not to mention that they said that it's going to evolve over time, that there's a lot more to it. It's going to house the biggest PvE challenges, or they're calling them pinnacle challenges, I guess.
Yeah,
Which we'll get into in the season pass, I'm sure.
Right.
But yeah,
exactly.
So, and then the Tangled Shore, coming out as a new destination. I didn't know really what to expect from the Tangled Shore, but I'm more excited about the Dreaming City because that actually it's like imagine the Leviathan, but there were no closed
Explorable
doors,
areas. Yeah.
and everything was explorable.
Yeah.
And then you could go from one area to the next seamlessly, and that's what the Dreaming City is. But they said they've amped it up to 11.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael makes a good point. He's saying that like it could be basically what people said the underbelly and the Castellium of the Leviathan should have been. Like
Should have been.
They should have been
Should've
like publicly accessed areas. You know what I mean?
Well, just think about the way that the raid works now. Like you're locked in Callus's room when you're done with the raid.
Yeah.
You have nowhere else to go, and you're booted out to orbit if you don't leave right away.
Unless you're in the raid layer and you can jump on his head and then go back down there somehow.
But you do all of those separately. They're all
Right.
separate activities,
Yeah.
and they all feel very separate because of that. With the
Yeah.
Dreaming City, it's like an area. It's like if there were raid things to do in the tower, you would be in the tower doing them, or like on Earth or whatever. So it's like a public space, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's made for 6 people. Reese said that Rex said in golf, so it sounds like he wants to do Spire Stars.
Yeah. I need to do
So-
Spire Stars one of these days.
So this Dreaming City, it sounds like the opening bit of the old Vault of Glass, where everyone can help open the door, but only the party of 6 that's grouped together can.
I don't think so. Like, it's not going to
be.
be that small of an area. I think that for once it's going to be like a full area that you can go to.
The idea is bigger than that because the
Yeah.
Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City are the only 2 new areas that are going to
Yeah.
be in the game. The Dreaming City is going to be a huge area that changes with progression of time. So it's
Mhm.
the 4th dimension Dreaming City. But there is the raid in there, and then there's other things to do in the whole city. It's a whole city, and the raid is just one part of the city.
Kind of like the Dreadnought, it sounds like to me. You know?
What they said about it was they said it was like a
Yeah.
child of if the Dreadnought and the Vault of Glass were
Had twins, they said.
had twins.
Yeah.
And then so like I know that it's kind of I don't know if it's marketing speak, but I definitely know it's PR. It's like
Yeah.
But they said, and then you put those twins on the doorstep of Peter Jackson,
Right.
and you let him raise them,
Yeah.
and then that's what it would be.
Yeah. Throw your money at the screen, guys. But yeah, I mean, the way they describe it in this Too Long Didn't Read is Dreaming City is our first endgame destination Interesting.
Very first. So it's not
Interesting
just a
wording.
raid. It's
Yeah.
not anything. It's an end game destination.
Yep.
It's where all the end game activities will be.
Home to the biggest challenges.
Only the biggest challenge.
And I guess the Tangled Shore will be more of a normal planetary experience that we're used to.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it is. According to what they said about the Tangled Shore, Cade has
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a
he's
bunch of
made a
Cade
mistake
punchline things.
he's been locking up all the people who we've been supposedly killing.
Yeah.
He's been locking all these people up,
Yeah.
and he makes dumb mistakes and lets them out accidentally, and then we have to.
So basically, it's
And then we have to
Harold,
kill them
Harold
again, I
and
guess.
Harold
I
and
don't know.
Kumar go to Gitmo or whatever with Cade.
Cade, yeah. Harold and Kumar go to Guantanamo Bay.
Yep.
It's not a White Castle, guys.
Yeah. So like they're emphasizing that it's gonna be like a darker toned story. They have these like weird like BDSM fallen in their like leather chains and whips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think those were the Scorn, right? The ones
Yeah.
with the helmets on and stuff. So they have with the Scorn specifically, they said that they're reworking the pursuits and how they work, and then there's 8 barons that you'll have to hunt down. The barons of the Scorn, and then that's an enemy. So like, and this is a big thing about the story as well, because the story is actually going to be taking a back seat to the gameplay, which is the first time that they've ever done that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And didn't they say there's another new enemy? Like I don't see it in here, but I remember them saying the Scorn and the something else, right? During the reveal.
I thought they said the Scorn and the Taken.
Oh, maybe.
Because we know from the reveal trailer, we know there's Fallen.
Right.
We know the new Scorn. We've seen that. We've seen the Taken. I haven't seen any Cabal.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see any Cabal. I think I've had it with the Cabal.
I'm done with Cabal.
Yeah, no more Cabal.
Didn't we kind of like win a war against the Cabal? You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whether we wanted it or not. Oh.
We have stepped into the
Finally done with the Cabal until
Yeah.
we go into the Leviathan to get our highest gear again for next season.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Can you imagine going into, if they didn't fix because they did say they're going to address the loot system, but if they didn't address the loot system, like the way it would like get a good engram from the raid, the old raid.
So here's the
Just
biggie. The biggie in this new TDLR is the reworked weapon system here. It's really interesting. I'm really interested to see how they're gonna balance this, because they're like, you can use 3 shotguns. You can use whatever you want, and
3 rocket launchers.
that's what I'm wondering. Is it gonna allow? I don't think it will,
Reddit.
unless.
No, I think how they're going to constrain it is it. I think they are. I think they're going to let you change. Like, I think they're going to let you make anything into what you want it to be. But so like, I think there's going to be shotguns that are special ammo, and there's going to be shotguns that are kinetic, and there's going to be shotguns that are thing. But I don't think they're going to be the same shotguns. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to say, well, I want to make this shotgun that is an energy shotgun into a kinetic shotgun.
Right.
I don't think it's going to work that way.
So you think that the kinetic and energy ones will be crappier?
Not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
because like the power shotguns are. I mean, they're super powerful.
You think they'll be
but-
ammo starved?
Well, they will be.
The power ones would be ammo
They will
starved.
be by definition, because if like I think what it's going to be more or less is going to be, you're going to be constrained by ammo regardless. So if you decide to go with 3 special ammo weapons instead of, your every single weapon you use is going to use special ammo.
Oh,
I think that's
okay.
probably the way that they're going to go with it, because that's the only limiting factor that I can think of. Because if you had an ability to have a shotgun in every slot, it'd be like, well, why
Yeah.
would I use anything else?
One
I think
question I have, I noticed in the thumbnails, there's these little symbols that say 1, 2, or 3. I didn't get
Yeah.
a chance to go back and like slow down the footage or anything, But I was wondering if like that was some sort of weighted system, like you can have this add up to a total number here in this to balance your full loadout, or if that was to signify like this is, you know, if one's always going to be kinetic and two's always going to be energy or whatever.
So it looks like the one is based on what it looks like. Actually, I have the YouTube video up right here. Hang on. So it looks like the weapons are, every single kinetic weapon you have is kinetic.
I don't think you're going to be able to change that now.
Well, because
same like how the energy will remain
right
in
here,
the
like,
weapons.
Look right here.
Right. Can you do screen share or something?
So we have 1, 2, or 3. It's from the Vidoc. It's like 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and basically he has a 1, 2, and 3, like the shotgun is in the shotgun. But
yeah,
like trackless waste is a shotgun, but it's a primary shotgun. Like it's a one bullet shotgun,
right,
which obviously means kinetic, but
it's a one bullet shotgun.
I think that those weapons will still be constrained by that, like the kinetic shotgun.
So the mag size will be different on those ones, you think?
Well, you can see the mag size is 6.
Right.
But let's see. Yeah, actually it is. Like the so
the
I don't know,
tooltip shows the ammo it uses: white versus green versus purple. 1, 2, 3.
The type of ammo that it uses, right?
So do you think that the green ammo is going to be more limited than it is right now, because it drops basically in the same frequency as kinetic ammo as it is?
I think it'll be that. Well, actually, I can tell he's got 2 green weapons right there.
Yeah.
Like at 226, he's got 2 green weapons. So obviously, you can hold more than one different type.
At 226, I see him using a shotgun. I don't see the loadout.
Yeah, but pause it and look at the energy type on the right side where you have purple, where the Acreus is. You have 2 greens.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. 2 greens. Okay.
So
but do you think like there'll be a limit, like you can only go up to like 6 or something like that?
But it doesn't. It's weird because it doesn't use the ammo. When he goes to shoot with that, it didn't actually use the ammo for.
Well, it's all a test build, so you know we can only derive so much from this. But you know, like I wouldn't be surprised if 6 was the limit, because that would be 3 number 2 slots if you wanted to do that, but you couldn't do 9, which would be 3 number 3 slots. That would be interesting if they balanced it that way, which would prevent the rocket launcher problem. You know, you might not get any heavies in those other 2 slots. It might just be shotguns and snipers and maybe fusion rifles. We'll see.
Well, you'd want fusion rifles to like, because that's a big part of the
range on fusion rifles right now, though. That could be, you know, you could just be running around the map vooping everybody in PvP if that's the case.
I don't know whether or not you'll be able to move the current fusion rifles into another slot.
Right.
Or if they have specific fusion rifles that go in that slot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they balancing a different archetype for every single slot? So if I wanted 3 fusion rifles, which obviously I can do, will I have 3 different types of fusion rifles?
I don't know. I guess like
I would think so, actually.
I don't think so.
Because that's a lot more balanced than just, you know, the weapons they have in the game.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same archetypes that exist now.
If that's the case, then, you know, then you're just.
How would you explain a kinetic fusion rifle?
Well, so I mean, I guess it just goes in the same slot, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the Vidoc again and see what they have in their inventory. I think they have the same weapons.
It's also, it depends how much drops out of like a white or a white or green brick. So like a green brick, how many shotgun shots is that going to give you? If it only gives you like 2 or something, then like loadouts like this won't be a problem because you'll be constrained by ammo in that way, you know. But
yeah, I don't think the sleeper would go into a kinetic slot. I think at the very least, all the exotics are going to stay in their slots.
probably the heavy ones for sure. Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They would have to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with when you got that jade that twin rabbit.
Yeah.
That shotgun in there that launches 2 rockets simultaneously. One of them suppresses and one of them burns.
Three boop cannons. Oh my god.
Well, basically a boop cannon and a burn cannon.
Let me just like side tangent for a second and say, I have realized very quickly this week like how overpowered the boop cannon is in PvP. It is disgusting.
Especially with the 7 when you get the 7
Yep.
in the shell, you just run. It's a one tap everywhere you go.
Yep, and it cancels supers and like they get so much ammo, and I mean it's just nuts. Like it'll swing a whole competitive game if you let somebody get that, unfortunately. So I think they gotta like
I was in a
look at the
competitive game
ammo
one
or
time
something.
and I started using it and I started winning, but then we had another team member on the other team that was just so good with it. He was a Titan that if he meleeed you, he got a overshield.
Oh, so yeah, very very good with it. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So he would, if he didn't kill you with the boop cannon, he killed you with a melee and got an overshield.
Yeah. Nice.
And he would just
And then
like,
skates
honestly,
away,
he would
right?
Just like
Just
he was just
macros
running, he
away.
just ran right through you.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I wasn't even there.
Yeah, he could just macro in with his Titan skating, boop, macro out with his
He was
overshield.
Yeah, I did.
Macro and Goofy watch you fly, probably shoot you again.
Yeah.
Because you're probably flying back at the same speed.
I don't always report people who do that, but like I think it's a competitive advantage that they have. So I use I think it's like game manipulation. I think that's the right thing to do. I don't think it's right to have a Titan skate in PvP.
I don't think Bungie's looking at that though, because like
I don't either, but I just put it in there
I think they're really like at a loss for what to do, because people got so mad when they nerfed that shoulder charge because they were like, this isn't how we designed it to be used, you know, and then people were like, yeah, but it's fun, and they got mad, so they undid that nerf. And now they're in the same predicament, except this one only applies to PC when you're using a macro, but I think they're just scared to do anything about it, you know?
Well, the thing about the Titan though is it gives. I mean, I know it's a topic we keep bringing up, but it's a worthwhile topic, because if you are a Titan, you will get to everything before anyone else. If you all you have to do is learn how to use it, and then you will always get there first, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people in chat are saying the boop cannon should have maybe 4 rounds in PvP.
Because it has 7, right?
Yeah.
It's either that or they decrease the amount that the heavy brick gives you with that cannon.
They could do that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
So they could reduce it to 3.
Yeah.
Because I think it gives you 4 right now, right?
No, it gives you 7. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they do need to bring that down.
Yeah, it should give you 4.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you 7. That's why I'm complaining about it, dude. They like literally get it, and then there's like another heavy coming in before they've even used all their shots.
Yeah,
it's
that
nuts.
was weird. I did notice that. I did notice that when I switched to the boop cannon, I never ran out of boop cannon.
Yeah.
I didn't ever pay attention to the amount that it gave me. I was just like, oh, I have tractor cannon. Let's go shoot someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm right by the heavy that's spawning right here. Let me get another one.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. So next thing, random rolls and improving the mod system for better weapon customization. We still have no idea what that means. You know, like, we know random rolls are coming back.
Kind of do.
Yeah.
Because they showed off a little bit where one weapon had one roll and another weapon had like it's the final perk that changed.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of them was Zen Moment and the other one I think was like I can't remember what it was. I know I saw a Zen Moment. But they showed off 3 different weapons, each having a different role on it. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, we didn't see anything about the mod system, right? They just were like, it's better now. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't explain anything about the mod system, right?
Yeah. Do you think like the weapons we have now are gonna get random rolls, or do you think they're just gonna be like those are the weapons of the past?
I think it'll be just on the new weapons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
so at 244 is where the GuardianCast exclusive. We're using computers, so 243. Okay, so one of them says grants a short period of increased stability and accuracy on initial trigger pull. What is that?
That is opening shot, right?
So that one's an opening shot.
That moment is the
stability thing.
Well, the first one is it's hazards of the cast. It's an auto rifle, 600 attack, with 39 450. Then he goes over to the next one, 33 450. So up the magazine, and this one overflows the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. And then this one has 30. This one has 37, causing damage with the weapon increases stability. Is that moment? So the magazine size changes too?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
It might have something to do with that middle perk, though, if that has a random roll on it that you're not looking at.
Yeah, but the first one had 39.
Yeah.
39.
But if it has like some weird like appended mag thing or like, I don't know, so you'd have to look at the full roll of the gun.
Yeah, that's true. It could be more than just the final perk being rolled. It could be all of them.
Yeah.
Therefore, because like I am noticing, I'm not noticing a difference in the RPM, but I am noticing a difference in the magazine. I'm not noticing a difference in the attack. But like range, impact looks all the same.
Yeah. Well, they're not keen to messing with that stuff. The archetypes, they have had the archetypes locked in since the beginning of Destiny 1, and they do not want to move the needle on those at all because they, in their mind, have it refined down to a certain level of balance, even though some of the archetypes just suck. You know,
certain weapons are just awful.
Yeah. So, but they're never going to be like, we're going to push the impact by 3 and reduce the rate of fire by 3 and just have like a varying sliding scale thing. They're never going to do that. There's always going to be archetypes, even if they happen to add an extra archetype, because I think they're just too afraid of what it'll do to sandbox balance.
Yeah, which kind of like rolls us into the next point with the like I'm just worried. Here's what here's what I want out of the random roll system. I want to be able to roll my weapon that I have now. I want to be able to change the rolls on the weapon that I have now. I don't want to farm another 10 hours for a different weapon that might give me the roll that I want.
I agree. There should be a system for that. The only thing is, though, they have to be careful about how they implement it, because you said you came around during the Taken King, right?
Well, I was in original Destiny, quit before this House of Wolves, came back for Taken King.
So in House of Wolves, they had a weapon reroll system, and it basically ruined the random rolls experience. And the reason was because you just took your weapon to the gunsmith, you poured a pointless currency into him, re-rolled it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times until everyone's running around with the exact same roll on every single weapon that's used in the Crucible. Basically, everybody had rangefinder and shot package on their shotguns. Like, if you didn't have that, then you just were doing it wrong. So you do want some kind of variety, which means I think the system has to be like, once you get your weapon, you have X amount of rolls, or you like have to get another one to re-roll that one or something. You know, there has to be like a system that limits Like, so you can't just spam re-roll it until you have a perfectly washed out one and everybody's just using the same thing by like the first week of the game.
Well, the way that the division did it, they had it to where like once you reach the end game, you can take a gun that you had, reroll one stat, any stats on the gun, reroll it, and per reroll you had to pay more and more currency. To
Oh,
reroll.
okay. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, but couldn't you only pick like so you re-rolled the stat, but then you had a choice of which one you wanted. Like you did like 10 rolls or something, and you had a choice of whatever one you wanted to do.
Yep.
Yeah, so you would
And the
roll.
thing is that once you change that slot, that is the only slot you could change. So
Okay.
Yeah, so like you had a like you could re-roll it, but that slot, that particular slot, you're like, okay, so this is the worst. I'm gonna change this one. Obviously, this one is the worst. I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
You go to re-roll it, and it goes, okay, so now it locks that one. So like let's say you have four choices you could pick. Like let's say you could pick any of these that you want to pick. I'm like, I want to re-roll this one.
Right.
And then it gave you 10 rolls of different choices of what it does to each of the stats. And you're like, well, I want that one. And then like the weapon was done.
Okay. Yeah.
Am I saying that wrong?
No, I think.
well, no, you weren't done. You can re-roll that same stat that you picked, but for more currency in game.
Hey, that could give a use to legendary shards, which just seem to keep piling and piling up no matter what you do.
We need something to do with them. We really do. They
Yeah.
need to figure out something to do with them.
Yeah.
'Cause
Actually,
it's
like
just going to become
most of the
next
currencies,
worthless currency.
most of the currencies in the game. There's so many currencies, and they all are useless. So I'm not too impressed with
Which
them.
brings us to the masterwork system.
Yeah. So this when they announced this, they didn't give any information really.
They just showed weapons that didn't even. We don't know if they look different because they only showed one version of the weapon.
So yeah. But the way he said it, like, sounded super exciting though. Like, he's basically like, the new Masterwork style system allows you to level weapons up over time, and it makes it sound sort of like, this is my weapon. Kind of like right now, I have my Dire Promise. It's got almost 9,000 kills in the Crucible, and it would just be so awesome if it was like, hey, at 1,000 kills, 5,000 kills, 10,000, 25,000, it turns into, like, it evolves into, like, a more powerful, slightly more powerful weapon, and it's your weapon, and it's customized to you, as opposed to just, like, being a kill counter and giving you a slight boost to stats like it does now. So we'll have to see what this is, but I'm excited about it.
It can be very, very good. Or it could be.
It's got to be better than what it is now, right?
Because the problem is that like with the weapon that levels up with you, that sounds almost like you can break your own weapon sort of deal, make it extremely overpowered, and have nobody else basically able to deal with you sort of deal.
I think they're going to be small upgrades. Like, do you really think right now, like, that boost to 10 handling speed really makes that much of a difference competitively? I don't think it makes a huge difference.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, none of that makes a competitive advantage. Like, gives you a competitive advantage. The only reason why you'd want like a 10, like a reload speed on power is if you put it on your heavy. You put it on your heavy weapon and you move on.
So it'll give a small advantage, and like you could make the argument that it's like, oh, in a tournament setting or something where like everything else is equal and you have two like professional players, like that could be the thing that tilts the balance. But those environments are going to be controlled, and they're not going to allow probably for that kind of stuff. I like this because it's like more RPG depth, which is what the game needs, PvP balance aside.
I want to see choices like that you make with your weapon as well. So like there's static rolls and then there's random rolls. So like the random rolls, you can, like the stuff that we have now, you can change, but the static stuff you can't change, but you still have to make choices about the weapons. So you have like aggressive things, like 3 sets of aggressive things, kind of like how they did it in Destiny 1, I guess. Would be okay with me as long as they have the additional perks with what they have on the weapons now.
Mm-hmm.
They need something static and they need something dynamic in both the weapons. So the weapon has to be the weapon, and that has to be static. There's things that can change about the weapon, but those can't make such an impact in the end that like it's like, oh my god, you have to have this version of this weapon. Like what we don't want to have happen, and what Bungie doesn't want to have happen, is for you to get a Better Devils and go, oh, this is the Better Devils, this is the gun everyone's been talking about, and then your version just utterly be terrible.
Right.
You don't want that.
Yeah. I think another cool thing would be if there was like weapon specialization. So if you could make some sort of choice where it's like, hey, I really like snipers. I want my character to specialize in snipers. And then, like, as you unlock new snipers and masterwork new snipers, like, some sort of rank goes up, and you can further customize snipers and make snipers better, whereas somebody else could make shotguns better or something like that, you know. That way you could make meaningful choices about that kind of stuff. I think that would be, like, cool RPG depth over time, too. But,
Gary said, better not be going for the EP shoddy type of weapon and then 14 hours in one day and it drops and then it's a pile of garbage. So something like that, where you'd have something like an EP shotgun where you have like a weapon that has a specific thing on it that you know is good, and then you go after it, you go hunting for it, you get it, and then the version you get is awful.
Right. Yeah, Fish. So Fish is asking better in what way? What I'm saying is, like, if they're gonna give you an opportunity to re-roll this stuff, basically, it'll give you a chance probably to re-roll it more efficiently, or like maybe you get choices when you re-roll. Like, here's a re-roll, you get 3 choices of, like, after you hit the re-roll button or something like that. That'd be interesting.
Well, don't forget they also said they're like in the same sentence they're adding random rolls and improving the mod system for better weapon customization.
Yeah.
And the mod system
That too.
doesn't do anything for the weapons right now other than energy type. And if they're removing the energy type from the equation there, then what is the mod going to mean? What is that going to mean?
Yeah.
Is it going to be something that you did, like, if you didn't get what you wanted, can you put it on there?
Right.
In World of Warcraft, they have a system called the Forge, the Nether Blight Forge, I believe. It's the most current one, and you have these relics that go into your weapon that improve your item level, but they also give you a special power that's only specific to this one. From in the Nether Blight Crucible, you go in there and you check it out, and then there's 2 choices you can make. One of those choices, and it does a random roll on all of them, but once it's rolled, like, they're static rolls. So the 5 or whatever that are rolled, they're static, and you get to pick the one you want. So even if there is the worst one on there, you'll never end up with the worst one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, you'll have a choice of 2 that you can go to, and then those 2 will give you a choice of 2, and then, so it's like 1 down to 2 down to 3 total. So it looks like a pyramid. But then you go down from the one at the top, and then you pick 1 or 2. If this one is bad, then this is the one you go with, and then you have a choice of these 2, the one in the center and the one on the right hand side.
So tree progression, right?
It's kind of like a tree progression, but you actually don't have a way to re-roll that.
Yeah, no, it's once you progress through it, you would have to go backwards to change what you wanted to do to it.
You actually have to get another
and take a different path with a different weapon,
and then maybe not even get the same ones.
Right. Oh yeah, that's
well, they all
true.
kind of They all kind of give you a DPS bonus though.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Your Guardian,
a system like that would certainly add meaning to the weapon that you're modifying.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So this next line has me a little concerned. It says, your Guardian discovers new ways to fight with new supers. We kind of assumed like we were getting a whole new subclass tree. when we saw those new supers.
And instead we can find new supers.
They specified in one of them. They said we're getting both new supers and new they're expanding on choices of supers by expanding on sub tree classes or subclass trees.
So I hope that the subclass trees are just completely reworked. I'd like to see individual node customization rather than, like, we need to at least go back to the Destiny 1 system in this case, or make it even better than that was, with more node options.
What I'm thinking is actually going to happen.
What?
Is I think each of those subclasses are going to have a different super. So like they're going to have, let's say they have 4 subclasses.
Yeah.
Subclass trees.
Right.
So like 4 things you could pick, the four blocks of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pick any one of these 4, but all of them are different supers.
Yeah, but I don't want those trees, like, because some of those perks I think don't go well with each other, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like this whole, like, if you want dead shot with the golden gun, you have to use 6-shooter unless you, like, refuse to upgrade it like I did. But I just wish, like, you could individually, like, if you could put dead shot with the precision golden gun multiplier, I think that would be better if you could choose those things individually.
They have more customization over what you wanted.
Right. To just refine your subclass to be something unique and specific. I know that there will be optimal builds, but at least in Destiny 1, like, aside from the optimal builds, there was, like, a lot of fun loadouts that people used too that you just don't see anymore. Now it's just like, well, you know, if you're playing Night Stalker, you use Top Tree. Don't ever use Quiver. Just forget about it, you know. So,
right, it's not worth anything.
Right. So,
but the Night Stalker could be interesting if the Night Stalker had two or three different supers that you could pick from.
And then you could individually do the smokes differently, and you know, like you used to be able
potentially.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So like how your grenade axe, how your smoke axe, how your super axe in the end.
So, are you guys going to be triple bow mains or what?
Triple bowmans, because there's a new there's the new weapon, the bow.
Right.
The bow looks excellent.
It does. When I saw that, I was like they should in the Vidoc. All of a sudden, the guy's in the air, and it looks like he's casting a Night Stalker super, and then you're like, that's not glowing purple, and then he just like shoots this guy in the head from the air. It was incredible. If that thing has the in-air accuracy like that, that is going to be awesome. One-hit kills in the Crucible from the air, just hitting people in the head on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, well, you got a nice machine gun there, but you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder, is it going to be balanced in a way, like, they said there's going to be multiple different kinds of bows, like... Are you going to have to hold the trigger down longer?
A long range and a medium range.
Yeah. But are you going to have to hold the trigger down longer to get more impact out of it, do you think? Or
Probably. I would imagine, yeah.
And
it's not going to be like an insta-quick, like, pull back and then...
Yeah. Now, what definitely... it better be hit scan, like, or at least, like, very close to hit scan. Because if it's, if it's projectile going, like... in an arc like Zelda or something, that's gonna be like the worst style.
Well, it'll be on a controller, so whatever fits for a controller, I suppose. Then we'll get it on PC.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about right now, Macros and everyone who's just joining us, is basically what they've covered over the year 2 reveal. And what was shown in the Destiny Vidoc for the Forsaken expansion, which is the first major expansion for this game.
Yeah,
similar to the way the Taken King was to the first Destiny.
So I'm really excited about bows. I think that could be really cool, especially if your in-air accuracy is on par, because there's no reason in-air accuracy should be bad with bows, you know.
Yeah, you can tell that the bow it didn't look like, it looks like a compound bow, but like when they start getting involved in like the fantasy elements and stuff, they can make it look really kind of neat, like science fiction fantasy.
So let's talk about Gambit.
Just bring me back a crossbow.
Let's talk about Gambit. New PvEVP game mode.
PvPvE.
Yeah, PvP.
Competitive PvE.
PvE. Right, whichever way you want to put it. Uh, I'm gonna butcher exactly how it goes, but basically, like, you are fighting off like in a horde mode style thing. You get all these currency, and then you try and cash them in. But you can also choose to go to the enemy team's side, steal theirs, and like bring it back or
Yeah, so
something like that.
it starts as a 4v4, which I disagree with, but it starts as a 4v4. And your whole objective is to get motes into a charger thing that will charge up a base that will summon a giant creature that you have to kill.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of you doing that, there will be portals for members of the other team to come over and wreck your day and kill you, and instead of like you killing them so that they can get the advantage on their the whole objective is to complete the PvE aspect of it, but by introducing the PvP part of it, you're basically allowing players to go in and grief the other team to beat them in the PvE activity. And the thing that they didn't show that was very, very deep in the thing, I had to look into it. The Gambit actually is that guy
flipping the
who
coin.
has that green thing. So who and what type of enemy you're facing is completely random.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Another side note about this, it's going to be playable at E3 if you're there, and also GuardianCon, which I will be at GuardianCon, so I'm pretty excited to play this. And I don't know if capturing footage will be possible, but if it is, I'm gonna be doing that too. Well, they usually, at previous events, they've kind of allowed that, So we'll
you might
have
to have your stream key.
Well, I don't know about streaming live from there, but if I brought a USB capture card or something and a laptop, I might be able to pull something off. We'll see. We'll see about that.
Well, no, they did kind of mention the Dreaming City, but they talked about the raid located in the Dreaming City, but we kind of already covered that. So
collections. So I'm interested about this collections thing. We talked about this before, but now we've gotten kind of a deeper look into it. And number one, 100%. Yeah, well, 100% we know we'll be able to pull exotics out of it on the fly. Like in orbit, in activities, you'll be able to pull exotics out. I'm thinking maybe you'll be able to do that with legendaries too, but we don't know for sure. We know legendaries will be in the collection, but what I don't know is, are they just a check mark thing where it's like you've collected this before, or can you pull those out of the collection too?
So they were very careful about the wording of it, but they did mention something that I think is of interest, and that is when you dismantle something, it is always in your collection. So if you get it for the first time, you dismantle it. They said that you'll be able to recraft it and be at the power level that it was, and be at the level that it was. But in order to do that, you're gonna go in, you're gonna say, I don't have the Antiope. I got the Antiope, dismantled it. Well, can't get another Antiope. No, I have an Antiope, and it'll pop in as at the power level that it is. But what I have to do is I have to spend materials that I get out in the world to recraft that weapon.
And what I would caution everyone right now, do not start deleting weapons, because I can almost guarantee this system will not apply retroactively. It'll probably start tracking in September. So don't delete your weapons yet.
We know we know that at least part of it is going to be Warmind is almost 100% tracked. Right.
I wouldn't guarantee
pretty much
it.
Any weapon that you want to have the ability to go back and go and get, we're not 100% certain, and until we are 100% certain, we can't recommend that anyone dismantle any weapon.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'm curious about is with random rolls, do you think these new weapons will have a set roll to exist in the collection? They must, right?
They probably will.
Well, I think I don't know how crazy the random rolls are going to be. Maybe there's only 3 versions or 4 versions of that one weapon, and once you've acquired all versions, you could basically pick the one you want.
Yeah, but then they would have to have thousands upon thousands of rolls in the collection. I think that they're going to have one version of the gun that you can pull out of the collection, if that's the case. I
Well,
don't
then
think.
is it going to be random rolled every time you pull it out?
I don't think so. I think there's going to be a base version of the weapon that exists in the collection that anybody can pull out if they want to, and it won't necessarily be the random roll that you may have acquired the first time you got it. That would be my guess, but we have no idea.
Well, we know
I
exotics
would say that's
are.
that. I would say that's the most balanced option in my opinion.
Yeah. Or the other
One
option
version
would,
that you can pull out
right.
and then customize to your liking.
The other option would just be that whatever it rolled as the first time you got it is what goes in there, or the most recent time you got it. But I don't think the game is going to be able to track that stuff in real time.
Yeah, I don't know how far we don't know how the random rolls work, and we keep coming back to it. But I mean, it could just be as easy as like the base weapon, and then you can re-roll it one time.
Right.
When it like you pull it out and you're like, well, I can re-roll this like right now.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of you using like 10 hours to go find the weapon again to maybe get a better re-roll on it, then you can just pull it out from the thing. But like the grind is, instead of grinding for weapons, you're really grinding for parts, and they shouldn't go with that system entirely, because the token system did not work out very well for Destiny 2.
Yeah. So last thing on this TDLR is the triumphs and achievements. Cool. It's stuff we've seen before. I don't expect much more out of it than what we've seen in the past, but it's definitely an addition to the game that I'll welcome.
Well, I mean, you can get a title. That's new,
oh,
right?
that's right. I forgot about that. The title will be cool. That's more
the
RPG
triumphs
depth.
will allow you to get titles, or maybe a specific glow or a specific a shader type that you get for getting specific triumphs. We don't really know. It could be, it can honestly be anything, but definitely RPG elements will be in that triumphs feature, which will track your achievements in unique and interesting ways.
Awesome. Roadmap. So one side note before the roadmap, 6v6 quick play and Rumble. 6v6 is going to be quick play in the summer update. And the yeah, and Rumble's going to be a permanent playlist. So that's cool. I know Huffy's super stoked about the Rumble thing. One thing about this roadmap to keep in mind that Bungie confirmed, which is good, before we start talking about the annual pass, is that everything that is listed in bullet points on this roadmap will be provided in free updates to the game. You will not have to buy Forsaken to get this stuff. So these fixes that the community has been asking for will be added for free. You don't have to. So like the argument that you've shipped a broken game and now I have to pay more money for the fixes, not really. You're paying for the content, not the fixes. They're just coming at the same time.
Yeah. So the price you paid, be it $12 or $60,
right,
or $100, will be the same content that you received when it is. And I kind of perused through the forums, and people seemed to be complaining that they weren't going to get new raids, but everyone was like, but you're never going to get new raids. You're just going to get the raids that you paid for. So you paid for these raids, so that's what you're going to get. And that's what you got that's what you knew you were getting when it went live. So like I don't know if there's people that were just expecting like to be able to get like the raid content out of it, or even the new weapons out of it, and that's not going to happen.
Right.
You're going to be able to still get the Crucible maps, because they've already said the Crucible maps are not going to be part of the package unless you want to do private matches, in which case you'll have to have the expansion for it.
Right.
You'll be able to get the vault slots. You'll be able to get the extra the in-game lore that is part of the new expansion, even though you don't have the new expansion. The weapon slot changes, the randomization, so that actually makes me think that the weapon randomization will apply to the old weapons as well. That's something we never thought about, but it kind of has to, right?
That's a good point.
If weapon randomization is part of the base game, and it is, then it has to apply to the old weapons.
Yeah, otherwise that's being oversold because you can't get the new weapons if you don't own the expansion. So
Right.
that makes sense. Yeah. Also, the 200 additional vault slots to 500 total, between that and the collections, I think we're going to be in a good spot here.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can dismantle my weapons without, prejudice.
My vault's full again, so.
Yeah, my vault has been full for, a while now.
Well, I mean, they just expanded this the space of it, but now it's full
real
again.
question though. Why do they keep a cap on the vault space? Shouldn't that
Because there's
be,
a
like,
limited
the one thing
number of
that's-
memory in the game,
Yeah, because the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it has memory constraint, and even if they were going to make a PC game, they'd still want to have a memory constraint for how big the table can be.
Yeah.
But they can do a lot more than just give us, blanket vault space increases. They can increase our shader cap. They can increase our
Well,
mod
we have the
cap.
collections too.
They have the collections for a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
Which is going to reduce a ton of it.
Yeah. In-game lore is, that's cool for people really interested in lore. That's not really for me. The bulk shader deletion, finally. I don't know why that's taking so long.
I have a question about bulk shader deletion. The only
What's up?
purpose of bulk shader deletion would be if you have a shader and you can remake it,
Yeah,
then why do you want to worry about deleting it?
right.
Why is deleting it?
Probably
a big
because
deal?
we already are stuck with the stacks we have. I don't want to spend hours deleting them.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
We'll just reference Reese doing a little
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
lapse.
I'm not doing that.
So bulk shader recovs are still going to be a thing.
Bulk shader recos. Oh my god. But yeah, we've covered most of this stuff in the TDLR. We're getting 4 new Crucible maps, and we talked about the new Crucible mode. I don't know why it doesn't just say Gambit there, unless there's another new Crucible mode that's separate from that. I don't really know.
New Crucible modes.
It just says mode.
Something.
Yeah.
Crucible Labs, come on.
Crucible Labs.
Get Crucible Labs,
oh
right?
God.
You
This is
were
in
so hyped
September
for
though.
it.
Yeah.
Something we all could get hyped for, and then we obviously we didn't deliver.
So Frankie Lynchard says, if I was to say anything, I feel the quality of life changes should come out in September and expansion the following month. I feel those changes should be allowed to generate hype before they release the expansion. I don't really think they need to separate it. Like, I think the onus is on people. What he's
mentioning is a World of Warcraft cadence. So World of
Okay.
Warcraft will, before an expansion, will make a pre-patch that will fix all of the changes. Like all of the changes that will go into the expansion outside of the new content will be live. So everyone will have a chance to play with the new content without having to do that. But Destiny's not in the same place World of Warcraft is, because like they only started doing that back in Cataclysm. So they're definitely not in the place where World of Warcraft is at with their game. World of Warcraft has a much better handle on their balance of the classes than Destiny does.
So
which is weird because it's not really anything to balance. Like
Yeah.
the stats don't mean anything.
I just think that this whole misconception, that people have is on people for not like reading the information as what it is. I don't think they need to separate the cadence like that just to make it clear to people what's free and what isn't, But let's talk about this annual pass because there's a lot of controversy about it.
Well, there is a lot of controversy about the annual pass, right?
Yeah. So first, we'll talk about what's in the Forsaken DLC that you're getting.
Well, let's
for your
explain what the
$40.
controversy is before we get involved in the.
Okay, so basically, for the DLC, you're gonna pay $40. You're gonna get the free updates that we just talked about that are in the roadmap, with the seasonal update, and then the annual pass is $30 for the year, from September 2018 to September 2019. And there's going to be 3 expansions?
Content releases,
Yeah.
premium content releases.
Premium content releases within the annual pass. We don't, they give some information here that we have more now than we did when we watched the Vidoc. But people are concerned about this, annual pass situation, and there's controversy about it. People are saying like, oh, why should I have to pay, basically, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's content. We'll see what kind of content it is. I'll evaluate whether it's a fair proposition, but I don't think we have enough information right now to say like it's not worth it. Like, that basically comes down to $10 for each content release.
Well, I think where the mind is, and if I can step into the mind of someone who doesn't understand what Bungie's actually doing here, is from their perspective, they didn't get a lot of content out of Bungie in year one without paying for the 2 expansions. So unless you bought the game for a full $70 or $80, you didn't get the full year of Destiny 1. You got a cram down version of what Bungie's grand vision for Destiny 2 was. And I have a small issue with that, in that video games are no longer, especially Destiny, and they've said this since the launch of Destiny, are really not about games as a product anymore. The product is
a service,
what you pay, and they still have to have that because they want to sell it in GameStop, Walmart, Target. They still want to sell it on Amazon as a physical copy.
Unless
they
it's
still
a
have to have
game.
that physical release.
Yeah.
But games as a service is really what's going to be taking over here. Like on PC, it definitely is, because you can't get a physical version for PC. But on PlayStation and Xbox, you get a physical version, and then that version will likely come with all the expansions and everything you need to go. They probably will do that.
Right.
So you'll pay that $40, and then you'll get the full year of Destiny 1 to bring you up to speed with Destiny 2. That's the same way with Taken King. That's the same way with
oh, yeah. So that's the other part of the controversy, is that to play Forsaken, you have to own Curse of Osiris and Warmind and the base game, which is kind of bullcrap. That I agree with. Like, there's no reason someone should have to purchase Curse of Osiris to play this. I don't think so. I think that's pretty stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. Did they say that specifically in a spot in the Vidoc or in the reveal?
It said it in if you look up the purchase info for Forsaken, it says it in the fine print, basically.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, on the store. DestinyTheGame.com. So here.
And it doesn't say it includes it.
It says
Destiny 2 game expansions 1 and 2 required to play sold separately.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to buy them, which is sucks.
You have to have. Well, okay, so that from World of Warcraft perspective, like, that's all they're trying to do, is they're trying to move it in from a regular game to what World of Warcraft has become.
So here's the big difference with that, though. If you're unhappy with the direction World of Warcraft's going, you can unsubscribe to tell them you're unhappy. With this, they're saying, we don't care that you hated the content in Curse of Osiris. You're forced to buy it anyway if you want to play this game.
Well, you have to buy, like, if you want to play the new content, and like Battle for Azeroth is coming out. Battle for Azeroth requires you have Legion expansion. So even if you hated Legion, you'll still have to have Legion.
Right, but again, you could have unsubscribed for the whole period of time that Legion was the relevant content, which is not an option here.
The one thing that Bungie does to combat that, to have issue with that, is the first thing they do is they run a steep, and I mean steep,
discount
sale on the previous year. So when Battle for Azeroth launches, you'll probably be able to pick up World of Warcraft and Legion for $20. The other thing they do is, about 3 months after the release of Battle for Azeroth, they're going to include Legion in the base game. So when you go to buy that $20 version of the game, so as soon as that sale is over, they're pretty much going to run into you buying the base version of the game, and it's going to include Legion with it. So eventually the game will include all the expansions except for the new one.
Well, they said, and everyone should know this if you're thinking about getting back into Destiny, that as we get closer to the release of Forsaken, there will be more options for people to kind of bundle and buy discounted versions of that stuff. So, like, if you're someone who's never, I'm sure there will be like one big package at least where it's like base game and the 2 DLCs for a heavily discounted rate. But I hope they offer multiple options for people who maybe bought the base game, were unhappy with it, and didn't buy either of the DLCs, or maybe they came back for Warmind but didn't buy Curse of Osiris. I think everything needs to be discounted individually and in bundles, you know.
Yeah, so Hex said the base previous the game will be reduced, and they said they're going to be bundle options available first.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a problem with Destiny's controversies that the controversy's been anchored with the game since Destiny 1, so there's always going to be this vocal minority heavily nitpicking it. Well, that true, but like what we're talking about is a very specific issue that is a drastic change from what they did in Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. So like when you bought the Taken King in Destiny 1, and I don't mean to, I am the last person to want to compare Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, you know this. But in the Taken King, when you bought the game, it included the expansions for the previous year. But the case is different this time in that it doesn't.
Yeah, and the other problem with this that people are upset about is like you only have one option, it seems like, to buy this annual pass. So going forward, if you were to take a break from Destiny, like after you play Forsaken, you say, I'm going to put this down for a while, I don't really want the annual pass. Well, your only option if you want to come back to the game is to buy the annual pass. You're not going to be able to buy Black Armory or Penumbra or Joker's Wild individually.
I actually have an idea how they can solve this.
Okay.
The physical version will probably be $60 in the stores, and that'll include both the new expansion and the other one. So they'll be able to sell the game at $60, and they'll probably reduce the base game and the previous expansions to $20.
It's Forsaken's going to be $40.
Yep.
And the annual pass is $30. It's $70 for both.
Right. So the base game is $40. The base expansion is $40.
Right.
That requires Destiny 2 and Curse of Osiris and Warmind to play.
Yeah.
What I think is what they're going to do is the base game, Curse of Osiris, and the thing. I think they're going to reduce that to $20, and they're going to include it in the $60 markup version of the game. So you're going to pay $60, and you're going to get all the year. You're not going to get the season pass. You're not going to get the annual pass because that's obviously extra.
Right.
And they'll probably have a version with that as well.
That makes sense. But
like the full Destiny.
I'd like to see them individualize this out going forward, so that if you want to, you could buy these content drops individually rather than in an annual pass. If that's
because thinking back on the physical, because I got a physical version of Destiny, the first Destiny, but I think the season pass I bought for the Taken King was a digital. But I remember there being a digital version of the game. If you didn't play it was $60. So they could still sell their $60 version of the game in the stores. And you still had to buy the annual pass or whatever, the DLC pass or whatever it was for the next year.
Another point to make about these content drops is like we're going to get a story in Forsaken, and we'll probably get a story once a year, but with these content drops, they're not doing stories, which I actually think is a good thing. And I hope that they don't just take this as an opportunity to be lazy, but if they could focus more of their time and resources on repeatable content that we actually play, I think that's better than wasting their time on cinematics that everybody hates and that we play through once and just becomes an annoying, tedious thing to have to do on your second
Blur
or third
Studios
character.
is the studio that does all their cinematics, and so they don't have to pay Blur to put more story in the game. They don't have to focus on more story in the game. They can put it in through lore. They can put it in through stuff. When they introduce the raid layer, they can introduce that with voice actors and stuff. That way we get more. I think what's actually happening here is the story is actually moving into the game instead of it being in cutscenes and in a campaign format.
Yeah.
So when you go to because because think about where the strikes came from in Warmind, right? They came from the campaign. Well, the campaign's not going to be there. So where are they going to get the strikes from? They're just going to make new strikes.
Yeah. Wit says, I believe they want the annual pass to be all or nothing, so we don't have subsects of player base anymore. That makes a lot of sense. I think then what they should do is, as time goes on, discount this annual pass. So, like, if you don't buy it, like, say you skip out on winter 2018 and you haven't bought it by then, and in spring you're thinking about buying the annual pass, it should be $20, and then it should be $10 by summer. That way, it essentially comes down to like a restructured subscription system, is what it would be at that point. And that would be how you
well,
say.
I wouldn't reduce it by $10. I would reduce it maybe by $5 each time. So that way, because it's $40 or $45 or whatever, and
It's 30.
If you buy it separately, I think it's going to be $45 or $50.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was just $30. I'm pretty sure, even standalone. Let me look at that.
Standalone exclusive we're using. Well, Hex says $10 DLC and $40 expansions, but people paid $60 plus $10 for the base game and 2 DLCs for year one. What's exactly the problem with getting an expansion and lower cost? We actually paid more than that, Hex. We paid $89.99 for the base game and the first year of content. So $60 for the game and then $30 for the expansion, but it was $35 if you bought it separately.
I can't find this.
I'm in the Blizzard shop right now. I'm just looking in.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good place to look for it.
It doesn't have the annual pass separately.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, $10 per DLC. Yeah. But you paid $35 for it if you well, for the first year you paid $35 for both, but if you bought them separately you paid $20.
Yeah.
Paid $20 each. If you
20 each, right?
But we don't know if this is going to be
35.
the same amount of content as that. So we'll see.
Oh, it's obviously it's more content. As far as what's listed here for what
except
content
story. We're cutting the story out of the equation for these releases.
Yeah, which means that they're gonna like the quality and perhaps even the quantity is gonna be better.
Yeah, we're getting raid layers. That's a big deal. For $10, you can't really beat that. If you get a raid layer for $10 and plus all this other stuff.
Dude, Spire of Stars, if that costs $10 next, like if this is like we talked about this before, but Spire of Stars being the direction that they're going to take with the raids and the raid layers going forward.
Yeah.
It's going to be an incredible steal for $10 for a raid layer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for the annual pass. I didn't want to harp on that too much more unless you guys have anything to say about that.
No, I just wanted to go over make sure that people understand that when you're buying Forsaken, I mean, obviously that it's $40, but there's a lot more than just you're going to get the 12 things or whatever they listed there. New story, the new destinations, both the Dreaming City and the Tangled Shore, which includes the new story that will be expanded upon in the annual pass, but not with a campaign.
Allie says she wants a big raid layer like Leviathan, then have layers like from the minor DLCs. That's exactly what they're doing. So there's going to be
what they're doing. Yeah.
There's going to be a big new raid in September, and then there'll be raid layers with each of these after that.
Reese is saying Spire is $10. I feel bad for Bungie because the Spire Stars would essentially be what they're talking about, the level of quality with the next raid in the next raid layer.
Yeah.
So you're getting the new raid, the rewards, the legendary gear, the lore, the triumphs,
and not for nothing. I've watched Skill Up and a lot of people review this annual pass system really critically, and I'm just thinking about this. I know when I played EverQuest, and if you play World of Warcraft, it's you got your $10 to $15 or Final Fantasy. You have your $10 to $15 subscription fee. You get an annual DLC you have to pay for. You have to pay for the base version of the game. That stuff is a lot more expensive than what we have here. I think you could argue.
Early on when I was thinking about which version of Destiny 2 I wanted to get for the PC. I did some math on World of Warcraft, and like for the amount of time I put into Destiny, I should have paid like, well, for World of Warcraft, I pay like even if I count the base game like at the highest level, that was $90, and it's not, it's 80, right?
Right.
Or 90, yeah, 90,
Something like
80
that.
or $90 or whatever. You still end up paying $186 less like a year
Yeah.
for playing Destiny over World of Warcraft. Now, I'm not saying you should stop playing World of Warcraft if you enjoy that game as well, but
The
I mean,
the only
all know-
argument you could make about that is like World of Warcraft has a lot more content, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're getting $186 worth more content, but
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the time expenditure. It's
Yeah.
not. It's time. Time is the commodity we don't have
Right.
more of.
So back to this Crucible Labs thing again. They talked a little bit more about it. You know, they said, "Hey, thanks for testing this. It's a risk that we put this out there, and you know, we're taking your feedback in. You'll see this mode return. You might never see it again. Stuff like that." I just want to
Hopefully we
say,
never see the Crucible Labs again.
yeah, I just want to say, like, I don't know that they've really taken the feedback in well, because like, this is not what we wanted. Like, we want to test sandbox changes, and I think that this game mode, it wasn't just half baked. It wasn't baked at all. Like, they're like, it's experimental. It's not experimental. It's exactly the same as doubles with 4v4. It just seems like you put that out there like with no thought at all. I can't even defend this at all. You know, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking.
Can I ask a question about the Crucible Labs? How are they getting our feedback?
I don't know. The forums. Yeah, you're supposed to post on the forums.
So the same way that we've been posting about
Yeah.
the Crucible,
Yeah.
but this way we have like a specific thing to rant about.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of it?
That's what I've been saying.
Like, if they want us to give us our feedback on the forums, we need to do that in the Crucible, about the Crucible. And they have enough feedback on the Crucible to make informed decisions for the future, I think.
Yeah. But like, I guess
So then why are we...
because they want to give us experimental game modes so that we can hopefully fix them before they deploy them out, rather than fixing them after they deploy them. That's the idea. Because they're saying, like, Showdown, you might see it again based on the feedback, you know?
They're like Davey says, they're going in a roundabout way of doing things, like trying to just please the community. Oh, look, we're doing something. Look at this over here. This is what we're doing for you.
Community feedback.
I kind of, you know, I hate to like agree with. I mean, that's like a kind of negative way of looking at it, but I actually agree with it.
Yeah.
Because like they're giving you a specific thing to rant about because they don't want us to rant about PvP anymore.
And it's not real. Like, this is Showdown we're talking about, which is the same as the doubles playlist. If they put Gambit out there and said, "Hey, test out Gambit," I'd be like, "Wow, that's bold." You know, but they're not doing that. And I don't expect them to do that this whole summer. They're just going to just have it at E3 as a demo and at GuardianCon. But, like, if they're serious about testing game modes, that's the kind of game modes you want to test. That not...
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
I'd love to play Gambit,
Yeah.
like for the week before. What if Crucible Labs had Gambit?
Yeah.
That would be a game changer. That would
Yeah.
be like, wow, this is a really cool mode.
Right. And it would be something to
They
actually
don't
test
want
and
our
give
feedback though about Gambit.
Right. Yep. So it just seems like a charade to me, honestly. We'll have to see what the next thing is.
It's a shell game.
Yeah.
It's a shell game.
So there's some minor bug fixes you can read about in this section here. They did fix this week the whole the Nightfall issue where you couldn't farm for the Nightfall exclusive stuff. So now you can farm for that again. That was hot patched. And we have E3 coming up. Other than Destiny, and you guys can start typing questions in chat now if you have anything you want to add to this podcast.
asteriskchaos for Bungie president.
Yeah. Other than Destiny,
I can't run that.
what are you guys excited to see at E3?
Other than Destiny, I mean,
Yeah.
because E3 starts tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Anthem from EA.
Yep.
Something like Division 2 from Ubisoft. We're gonna get to see potentially some story, and maybe some snippets that we didn't get to see in the reveal on Sony stage for Destiny. Anthem will probably be at Microsoft stage, so we'll probably get to see more there as well.
Yeah.
Bethesda, what are they working on?
Some weird like Fallout rendition that no one knows what it is.
Fallout 76.
Yeah.
I guess if people are interested in that,
Yeah.
that looks pretty neat.
Cyberpunk 2077. That
they have confirmed that Microsoft's conference will be 2 hours long. It's the first time they've ever done a 2-hour press conference. So that's going to be pretty big for Microsoft. Rage 2.
By the way, I'm not advocating that you buy an Xbox right now because there's almost no reason to have one. But if you are in need of an Xbox, they are on sale for the entire E3 conference. You can buy a One X for $450 right now. So that's the first time it's ever been on sale.
Wow. Well, I mean a $50 price drop isn't huge.
Right.
But
if you trade in something for it, then it could be, something.
Yeah,
we're back. Sorry.
Your
hiccup.
your video's frozen though. Asterisk. If you just disable your camera and re-enable it.
If you can disable your camera and then re-enable it, it might fix it.
There you go.
There you go.
Nice. But I am really excited about Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt.
Yeah, Davey was asking if you crashed like a minute ago. And he said, he's meditating.
Yeah.
My internet just had a hiccup. So.
Yeah.
He just fell asleep is all. He's awake.
But so Cyberpunk is being published by CD Projekt Red, and we don't really know anything about it. We've seen a teaser like a year ago, but they're a well-renowned publisher. So
every
really
year
excited.
I get really, really involved in the rumors and stuff, and I try to find because there's a couple of insiders that post on NeoGAF, which is a big gaming website that has these things that actually do have insiders that will tell you things that are sneaked into the forum so that you'll know about them, like kind of like surprises, but like, hey, kind of like leaks. Some of them are fake, and then some of them are absolutely real, and certain people have a better track record than others.
Wits and Gigs says he wants some Final Fantasy VII remake info. I think this year we'll probably get a teaser. Next year we'll get a trailer, and then the year 2025 you'll be able to pre-order the game for the year 2050. So just get excited, man. Get hyped. Kingdom Hearts 3. That should be another one, right? That's never coming out.
Kingdom Hearts 3 should receive a date.
Yeah.
So we should know when Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out. They expect more than just Anthem and Division 2 to stamp their potential claim on Destiny 2's player
genre
base and genre that it's created.
Yeah.
Like, expect that. Also expect PUBG's and Fortnite's arena style gameplay.
The Battle Royale, yeah.
The Battle Royale to be in just about every single game they can find.
Pretty much. So
I guess I'll be looking at the Division 2 for what it could be.
Yeah.
Hopefully, doesn't sort of smash my hopefully the actual game release doesn't actually smash my expectations like it did previously, kind of.
The game that we know is going to be at Sony's conference, which Sony is the last of, Nintendo is actually the last, but Sony is actually the last before that, and Nintendo's is a pre-recorded thing. So Sony is always the last to go, and then Nintendo obviously goes. But so Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game I'm personally looking forward to, and I just want to see more of the game.
Right.
I want to see some gameplay. I want to see something running on hardware that we've seen more than just the snippets of story that we've seen.
Yeah. And hopefully there's some new stuff that we haven't even heard about yet that'll totally surprise us, you know?
Some things like right off the bat, I'm looking at NeoGAF right now. Crackdown 3 was delayed till February 2019 now.
I thought they scrapped it.
No, it's just delayed.
Okay.
Spider-Man
What
looks
about
really
Halo
good.
6? You think that'll be announced this year?
So apparently I was reading some rumors and Halo 6 is going to be called Halo Infinity.
Oh. Is it still
it potentially could be like a Destiny type game.
Nuh-uh. Really?
No.
I don't buy it. They haven't had time to develop that.
The guy who posted it on NeoGAF is banned, and they ban people who don't have like credentials like that. So.
Yeah, they haven't had the development cycle time for that kind of a project. I just don't buy it.
The easiest thing that I would say about like the Master Chief Collection is it might come out on PC.
Maybe. I mean, they tried it though. They tried it. They had a version. They had a version that they tested in Russia, and then like it got ported over by some people. It was called El Dorito, and I think you can still play
Halo
it.
Online.
You can still play it, but Microsoft said like you cannot continue developing for this and like fixing it and stuff like that because we want people playing Halo 5. You know.
It's been Halo. It's been 3 years since Halo 5 wrecked. So Hex said that.
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Wow.
Halo 5.
It feels like it was just yesterday I was playing the beta for that.
If you guys have an Xbox and you guys plan on playing Red Dead there and you also have a PlayStation 4, consider buying it for the PlayStation 4 because the amount of content that is, unfortunately, I hate to play the exclusive, I hate console exclusive games, but there are some pretty significant console exclusives for the PlayStation 4 version of the game.
Well, going forward, I've been thinking about trading my Xbox in for a PlayStation because pretty much every Microsoft title and Xbox exclusive game is going to be on PC going forward. So, like, what is the purpose of me having an Xbox at this point? You know,
the Ultra HD player. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have an Xbox myself because I saw the same thing you saw where I'm like, hey, if I can get the things on PC, I play Cuphead, but you know what? I got Cuphead on my PC.
Yeah.
So and it's play anywhere. So if I did ever own an Xbox One, I could go back and play it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I bought that on Steam. Never mind.
Get a Pro. Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
resist on your controller. But what will you play your UHD movies in?
And now there's 1440p support on Xbox. So, but
yeah. Well, the thing is like only on certain games, and then the frame rate is locked at a certain rate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't exactly like push it over like any game that runs in 4K native will not run at 60 frames per second.
And it's usually like checkerbox 4K and stuff. So it's like a interpolated 4K.
It's the way they used to do
1080i
for the Xbox 360. The version of the game was 720p. The PlayStation 3 version, because it was difficult to develop for at first, it was like 860p that was upscaled to 7. You know what I mean? It's like 640p that was upscaled to 720.
Yeah.
So like the actual source of it, you could barely tell, but if you were looking closely, you could tell. Those head-to-heads, man, they were like head-to-head. Which is better, the PlayStation version or the Xbox version?
Well, given that the PlayStation now has VR offering where Xbox kind of doesn't.
Yeah, I see the Vive sitting.
I don't care about VR. Like
he's got the
Vive
Vive sitting right behind him. I can see it in the chair.
Yeah.
I'm not spending $500 on that, and it's.
If you're listening to this on podcast, where you can't actually see the video of this, Asterix is sitting within handshot of the distance of his VR goggles.
Yep. All right. You guys have any other questions, or you have any other questions over there?
No, we've just been kind of.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much it then.
PSVR.
I'm curious to see what we'll learn over this E3. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week. As always, we're looking to make improvements to GuardianCast. If you have any suggestions and things you'd like to see in the future, please put them in the think tank section of my Discord. We'll look into it, and we can... I'm also interested in guest recommendations. If you guys have anyone you'd like to see on or happen to know anybody who is interested in being on the show, let me know. That being said, I'm Recked.
This is going up on YouTube?
It's going up on YouTube, Google Play, iTunes, all that stuff, Podbean, as always.
So I have a question for our viewers then.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most looking forward to?
Oh, yeah.
With the Forsaken expansion?
Yeah, let us know. In the comments section below.
Or if you're listening to it on Podbean, just...
Give it a positive rating.
I don't know. How do you get your comments across on like Podbean or something?
We figure out a way to just paste our Discord links in there, maybe.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, just unsubscribe.
Yeah. If you don't like it, just keep listening to it anyway.
Keep listening to it. Yeah, it'll get better.
So I'm Recked. I'll put everybody's social media information in the description box below.
Okay.
XO.
I'm
Asterix.
XO Fury. Yep.
Thanks for coming on, Asterix. Last minute. Appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.